welcome to the Take Back Your Home podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about vintage and consignment furniture with Kim Vincze from one of our sponsors, Verve Home Furnishings. Tech Painting Co. is also a sponsor, and we're grateful for both of them supporting the show. So Kim, say hello and tell us about your store here in Richmond.
Hi, thank you for having me. And this is my first podcast.
You're welcome.
So hopefully it won't be too obvious.
It's going to be great.
Verve Home Furnishings has been around since 2006. And we started out mainly, mostly all vintage, in fact. I was a bit of a purist about having vintage, all vintage. But it didn't take long for me to realize in my own life that I didn't live with just vintage furnishings, and neither does most of Richmond. So my style kind of evolved with the times of, my clientele. I'm older, my clientele's older. They like some new pieces mixed in, and of course, we still have probably 80% vintage or used, if you will, furniture, but we also mix in generally a lot of floor sample pieces that when we can get our hands on them for better prices.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I don't know who you're calling old, but I don't consider myself old, and I love Verve.
Oh, well, thank you.
And we are always sending people into Verve, and we always check them out when we're sourcing for a project. So I'd say you have fans from all ages.
We do.
And I don't think of you as old either. But yeah, so you have this fabulous shop, and I know you're on Cherish. What's your favorite part of owning and running a shop?
Oh gosh. Obviously, I think for a lot of us dealers, we call ourselves, acquiring pieces and finding really cool pieces that someone's going to love.
Yeah.
And but I also love having a rainy day that I get in there and restyle a room or a vignette, and I try and do that every week with a few vignettes to kind of gear up for the weekend shoppers. So I really love rearranging furniture, and I do it at my friends' houses, at my own house all the time. I love a Sunday when I get to do that. So, but yeah, those are probably the two main things. And you've got to love what you do in these sort of small business. So,
Yeah.
'cause it's a lot of heavy lifting and
Literally heavy lifting. Yeah.
yes.
Well, I always think of that. I don't know if the correct term is merchandising, but creating those vignettes that draw people in. I feel like that's merchandising. I don't know if I can use that word, but I think that's great that that's your favorite, because that's what I love about coming in, or even just your Instagram, the vignettes that you capture on there. And her Instagram, for anyone that wants to follow, is at Verve Home Furnishings. Is that I walk in and I just see all these different things in a little moment where you're like, whoa, how does that work? And it inspires me, right? And it gets you to look at
Absolutely.
things, I don't think you would have looked at otherwise.
Yeah, I think that's the key for a lot of people is, as you know, being a designer, a lot of people just don't know how to put it together.
Right.
And especially when I have a really an eclectic mix of things that I like to mix it in so people see the balance of new, old, vintage, whatever it is, maybe something kind of tribal thrown in with something Asian and something modern and something even rustic. So I have all my little personalities in this 12,000 square foot warehouse, by the way, that has, my what I call the Yellowstone room and the mid-century modern room, and
Isn't there a tiki bar too?
kind of a
somewhere in the
tiki
tiki
room.
lounge?
Yeah. So we've kind of got all of my little personalities going on in there, and hopefully you'll like it.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to have you on here, not just like so people could learn more about your business, since you're one of our wonderful sponsors, but also just to kind of help people open themselves up to something that's different. Because when I tell people about Verve, I say, this is the place to find something special that you're not going to find in your neighbor's living room.
Absolutely.
Right? You're going to go there and you're going to fall in love with something, take it home with you, and everyone's going to ask you where you got it, and you can tell them, but they will never be able to get it.
Right.
And that is kind of, to me, like the ultimate flex of, not that you're trying to be better than anyone else, but it's like, this is me, and this is like a little moment that shows you who I am, and I think that's the way to make your house. That's what this whole course that we're, not in this episode, but in the other episodes, as we explore what's in the course, that's the point. Take back your home for you, not for anyone else.
Absolutely. And I feel like I try and do things in a way that even if you don't have a designer or can't afford a designer, oftentimes I can help you with photos of your room or, and helping you select a piece or mix things or do accessories. So, I don't have any formal training in any of that, but I seem to have a knack for it.
She's got a gift. She's got a gift.
So yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So where, and not that it matters because people have to come to you to get these fabulous treasures, but where do you find them? Like, how do you find them?
Gosh, I get that question every day. There has been no shortage of stuff for the past few years. People downsizing, moving, building and moving. And of course, once you've established yourself in this business, and I've been around for
almost
a long
20 years,
time.
it sounds like.
Yeah. And so I've kind of been known as having this kind of style.
Yeah.
And it was very, very unique, 15, 16, 20 years ago. So I was always kind of known for the person that, well, if nobody else wants it, I bet Kim would like it. And it would usually be a contemporary piece or a mid-century piece or something
that's a little
groovy.
bit different.
Yeah. Something kind of 70s, So my name always came up. And so I've developed a lot of relationships over the years and a lot of pickers and people looking out for me.
Yeah.
Because I was in sales for 20 years prior to this when I worked for Anthem. And there's nothing more important than relationships and getting things done, whether it's helping you find stuff or sell stuff or whatever. So my name seems to come up a lot. But I do some auctions. Very few estate sales because I just don't have the time to go get in lines and wait and things like that. So yeah. But fortunately, I have a lot of good relationships out there that people find things for me, and then just sometimes walk in the store and say, "Hey, I've got some stuff. Do you want to buy it?"
I love it. So, that's wonderful. Yeah, I always like to know, we actually have a project requirement for all in, or what some people might call full service interior design, that we have at least one piece per room that was basically vintage or already in existence at their own house, and we have to give it new life or go out and find it, discover it. And so, I always like to know the backstory on pieces. And you're always like, yeah, I got this from here or there. And so I think it's fun to know. And one time we actually got a piece from a different consignment furniture place in the city, not as focused on vintage, but it was really interesting. They had gotten that piece 3 different times, but they couldn't track down the original provenance of it. It was a true antique, but it was like one lady had it, she'd brought it back after 8 years. Then somebody else bought it. They had it for 5 years. They brought it back. And now it's in a new person's house. But I just think that is so, that's the kind of thing that you just can't buy brand new.
That's
you know? And yeah. Okay, so I would describe going into your store like being invited to an A-list party in 1970. I don't know, whatever. What would you, in the best way? So how would you describe your style, or maybe the store style, in like 3 words or a phrase?
Oh, wow. Layered.
Yep.
Eclectic for sure. And I maximalist. I mean, I am a maximalist. My store is, like I said, it's jammed. And the minute I sell something, I try and get it off the floor and redo that little area. And every time people have been coming in, they're like, "Wow, the store looks great. You've redone this or that." And so we've really spent a lot of time staging and not just having stuff lined up in a way like a grocery store shelf or anything like that. So we try to be thoughtful about putting it together, and it seems to work.
I think that's part of the value of visiting Verve is that, again, if you can't, or don't want a designer, Kim, the way that she has arranged things is giving you an idea of a concept that you could take home with you. And I think that's that adds to the value of the purchase, because it's not just this was a vase on a shelf. It's
Right.
like the vase is layered in a tray that's on this chest of drawers, and there's a fur draped on one corner and a big lamp on the other side. And it's just like, it's awesome.
Yep.
So,
And I tell people too, people in this day and age are so impatient with finding things. They want to get it done now. They've bought a new house, and as you know, they always want to start with accessories, things that they can quickly grab up and stuff like
well,
that.
they're waiting 40 weeks for
Yeah,
the sofa.
yeah. And
Although she has sofas too.
yeah, and I tell people, like, I know you want to get it done. Don't go order everything new. Start and find a cool piece. I'm one of those types that
Build around it.
If I find something I like, I'm not a measurer. I'll make it work somewhere.
Yeah.
I mean, if you find something you love, it'll work.
Yes.
Just keep work. Always buy what you like, and it usually will fall in place for people. And always keep mixing as you go, new and old.
Yeah.
If you put in all new stuff and bring in a vintage piece, it's just going to look stupid.
It's not going to look right. Yeah, a little back and forth.
Yeah, back
I like
and forth.
that.
Yeah.
Well, and in the course, we actually teach people how to know what their maximums and their minimums are. So if they know they're looking for sofas, because some people have it kind of built into their brain. It's almost like their brain is scanning and they're like, yeah, that's about 3 feet. And they know, but some people truly don't understand. Like, it's harder for them to navigate 3D space.
Right.
And so we teach people in the course, like, this is how to do your layout as a starting point, so that you can take that list of measurements and go into a store and be like, okay, well, I have like 10 inches of play here. Can I find something without having to custom make
Right.
everything? And
Right.
so they can take their little list and come into you. And it's not like, oh, I need a rose colored chair. It's more like, I need some kind of chair with these mins and these maxes. And then you can just see if it'll work. But I agree that if you buy something you love, once that chair's in there, you can move that thing all around. I've had this one settee probably move to 6 different rooms in my house. It just keeps
Right.
moving because the scale is so good. And I love the fabric, and it just kind of works everywhere because I love it.
Yeah, and I guess one of the downsides of what I do is everything is generally unique. Even if it is something new, I generally only get 1 or 2
Yep.
of it,
Maybe like
whatever
a
it
pair.
is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so oftentimes you just have to have an open mind when you do come in my shop, because it's just serendipitous what you're going to find, and hopefully it's something you can use, but it's not like I can just order another one of these kind of things. So it is somewhat random in there. So
I like the word serendipitous. It's like you never know what you're going to find, and you may not find anything that's right that time, but then next time you probably find 10 things that are right, and you're like, okay, now I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
And I'll DM Kim on Instagram and ask her sometimes, like, I'm looking for this kind of thing that I have in my mind. Do you have anything like that? And she'll give me like, oh, here's these 3 options. And sometimes it works out. and it's, again, I feel very serendipitous about it when it does. So, what do you think, your customers are going to, like your fan club and the people that are consistently buying from you, they are going to value this history and the story and this kind of character that you just can't get with new. But I'm guessing some people walk in and they probably have this idea of what, vintage or used furniture should look like or maybe cost. Like, what do you think most people's fears are about just walking in the first time, or misconceptions, like when they walk in and they're like, I'm walking into a vintage furniture store. What do you think they're thinking if they haven't been in before?
Right.
They don't understand everything we're talking about.
Well, the fact that we aren't really all consignment,
Right.
we are not all vintage, we
Right.
are not antique, we are not all retail. So we fall into an odd place in on Google searches. We're basically a furniture store, furniture, rugs, and art.
Yeah.
But it's hard to kind of categorize what we do because we cross all of that, all of those
categories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm one to, I pick up and buy when I'm traveling, and I mix things in from wherever. If it helps something else sell in my store, I'm not opposed to buying from anywhere, really, depending
Right.
on what it is.
Yeah.
But and now I'm losing my thought on where we were.
Oh,
going.
we're talking about, like, what do you think people's misconceptions are? Yeah.
Well, I think with the vintage thing, for me, again, I evolved over the years of not buying too many real vintage upholstery projects, because a lot of people, I found my place with a lot of designers.
Yeah.
They do want reupholstery projects, and that's a good thing. But I think, when you're talking about sofas, you want a reupholstered piece
Yeah.
or something you're going to lounge around. Not, we do get some clean, beautiful vintage pieces that are ready to go.
Yes.
Or just slightly used. And so that I always try and look for anything, that's clean,
Yeah.
non-smoking home,
Right.
no pets,
Yeah.
stuff that, I'm comfortable knowing is
It can be sold.
Yeah.
And it's not going to just
Yeah.
start emitting a
Yes.
smell or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we're not putting blue lights on stuff or anything, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
Again, it's
There's
just
a standard
evolved.
there,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
making sure, yeah, because
So.
we've really loved like several pairs of chairs that she's had in there that some have been recovered, some are the original upholstery, and yeah, we've never had any issues.
Yeah. So other than that, I think people, they always want to know if it's consignment, and I do some consignment,
Sure.
not very much, but not in the traditional sense of consignment.
Yeah.
So, but I think for most people, I get really good reactions. A lot of people come in and say they're coming in looking for inspiration. So, hey, that's it's good if they get inspired by something I've got. So.
Yeah. So we've talked about going in to be inspired, kind of finding those pieces that fill this, void of character, right? Like we need to add that character in. What about if somebody, and I kind of alluded to this already, but I said, if someone already has these measurements or they know what functions it needs to have, like we need to store things enclosed or we want things on display. If they know these specific requirements, what's the easiest way for them to shop with you? Is it to come in? Is it to call you? Is it to message you on Instagram?
Yeah, I mean, all of the above, really. I'm pretty good on my feet with looking at pictures and knowing your measurements. And, it helps me a lot to know the room, what you're trying to accomplish.
So maybe some pictures of the room,
style.
general measurements.
But yeah, general measurements. And then we do have a fair amount of information or inventory out on cherish.com right now. And we also, of course, try and post everything on Instagram.
Yeah.
So, but it's just a lot of stuff in the warehouse. So the best thing you can do is send me specs, and then I'll text you or Instagram you photos of things I think you can use. So
yeah, it's been very helpful for us in the past. So I'm glad to know that other people can do that as well. Okay, what if people find a place or a piece at Verve and it needs some sort of repair? Are you able to recommend any repair service companies, or do you have anyone
sure.
that? Okay, so
we do a lot of our own repairs.
Yeah.
I tend not to buy things that are in need of too much
right,
repair.
yeah, we're just talking about like little things.
Yeah.
Like if there's some patina and someone, I don't know, like I'm trying to think of a good example. Maybe on some sort of wood table that has like a slight crack.
We're very handy at
Yeah.
stuff like that. So my husband is incredible with some of this repair stuff. I can't even believe he's actually a dentist, but he's a perfectionist. So when I have him do something, it's done right. So yeah, we don't really buy that much stuff that needs repair, but we do have a few sources that we can lend to you.
Okay. Well, and of course, recently we spoke with Tech Painting Co. And we know if you wanted something re-lacquered, they're a great resource. Yes. And there's some great upholstery shops in town too. If you got something in 4 years, you wanted to change up the fabric, like we know people. So, okay. Do you offer delivery services in Richmond?
We do.
Okay. That's huge. I mean, we've used your delivery people before and been very happy. So I feel like it's really hard to find good movers. Like we have some that work with the trade only, and we've had some nightmares when we've hired like off Google. So having your delivery people has been great because they are so careful because they're used to working with cool furniture all the time. And it's like, it's got to stay in one piece or you can't sell it. So
yeah. And for the most part, we handle our deliveries ourselves. If it's something really heavy, then I'll call in the big guys. But as a general rule, we do all our deliveries. So, yeah.
I love it. Okay, well, as we wrap up, you mentioned your Cherish shop. Is that the best way for people that aren't in Richmond to shop with you?
Yeah, just keep in mind, Cherish, the price point on Cherish is higher. They have the ability to make offers, and they tend to, make half price offers. I think it's got
You have
to
start. It's like health insurance. Like just start up here,
Yeah.
send the insurance. Yeah.
So keep that in mind.
Okay.
But Cherish gives you a great idea of the inventory we have. But again, it barely scratches the surface.
Right.
But it is mostly furniture out there, and Cherish handles the shipping. So if you are out of state,
Yes.
it'd be ideal for you to call me directly
Okay.
and do that directly with me
Yeah.
versus through Cherish.
Yeah.
For handling your shipping, and because we also use U-Ship, and we've had
That seems to be a
we've had
real winner.
great luck
Yeah.
with U-Ship.
That's
So
wonderful.
don't
You'll have a little bit
discount
more
them.
control of the
Yes.
process if you just
Yes.
go. So yeah, so as I said earlier, definitely follow Verve Home Furnishings on Instagram. That's the username. And thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank
your
you for having
time.
me.
And I just think it's so fun to talk about. I'm not even say vintage because, like you said, it's vintage, it's consignment, it's new, it's all just fabulous. So,
And we were voted just by Richmond Magazine best mid-century this year. I'm not sure how that
okay.
happened, but
maybe they just came in on a day when you would
I don't know.
merchandise more.
Well, I guess you all voted for us. I guess
Yeah.
they
Oh, yeah.
I'm really bad about knowing all these survey things going on.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and so many people think if something's not traditional, then it's mid-century.
Yeah,
So they
right.
probably, yeah. But
Right.
anyways, but
thank
thanks.
you, Richard.
Yeah.
For that.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kim. And thanks everyone for tuning in.
One more thing. Can I
Yeah.
just
Oh,
one
yeah,
more?
please do.
We have a
With a rug event?
rug. Yes, we have a rug event coming up in November. It's November the 6th through the 11th, and it's probably our 7th or 8th year of doing these rug events every 6 months. So this is our fall event. You do not want to miss it. You get to take rugs home and try them. You have the ability to trade your rug in. If something you see the next time the show comes, you see something you like, you can trade it as long as it's in great condition. Most of our rugs are Turkish. We do a mix of old and new.
And great color palette.
Great, yeah. I will
Unusual
say,
colors. I love them.
we hand-pick the rugs for Richmond so that you don't have to go through stacks and stacks of rugs. It's very well organized. We have people flipping rugs, and if you get a chance, try and come by November 6th through November the 11th.
And they get the big sizes. So,
Yes.
I mean, they have all
sizes.
sizes, but it's like, a lot of times in these larger, especially on the new builds where it's this huge open area and people go, where am I going to get a rug this
Right.
way? So
Exactly.
you definitely, if you've bought a home recently or are building and you have that more open floor plan, especially you're going to want to get down there because most websites that you would order from, it would be like 9x12 in some styles,
Yeah.
not even all the styles.
Absolutely.
So. All right. Well, thank you.
You're
This
welcome.
has
Thank
been
you
so
so much.
fun. Tune in again to the Take Back Your Home podcast. Follow us at Take Back Your Home podcast on Instagram. Have a great day. Bye.